What's good, Josh? I'm the Spool Game Man, back with yet another reaction video, baby. And today, back with another Anime Tuesday. And today we're back with that Naruto, man. This is Naruto theories that should have happened. Another NC Hammer video, man. So you guys have been showing a lot of love and support to it recently. If you guys missed it, excuse me. Yesterday we dropped one. I'm trying to branch out, do these a little bit more, not as much on Thursdays, or not Thursdays, Tuesdays. So we can get some more anime videos to the channel, get to some of the other products that I want to get to here and revolves to anime. So if you guys are here for anime reactions, or you guys want to see more anime reactions or more of my reactions, turn that bell on so you guys can know those videos are going live. But also like and subscribe, man. Join the family, roll to 10K. I'm trying to hit it as quickly as possible so you guys enjoy my content. I promise you, there's more good stuff on the way. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and just jump into straight. Jump into today's heat. I was about to say jump straight into today's heat, and they kind of mixed it up together. But regardless, jump into today's heat, see what they're talking about, and what theories should have actually happened. I'm trying to think of any theories in my head that we should have seen Fugaku actually fight. That's one of the very first theories that comes to my mind.
So on this page, we talk a lot about theories that usually revolve around Naruto. And these theories can range from anything to Kakashi has shark teeth to Jiraiya never made it to heaven. And while the theories that I cover are incredibly well thought out and fleshed out throughout the duration of my videos, not every theory about Naruto is. That's not necessarily the issue of the theorists. Naruto has been around for 20 plus years. Some people just had grand ideas that eventually came up false. It's easy for me to look at Naruto now that it's over and make theories about it, because there isn't really any more information coming out that would disprove my theories, as long as Boruto doesn't disprove my theory. But the only theory that Boruto is currently disproving is that a spin-off of Naruto could be good. I don't mean that. The canon bits of Boruto are really good, but God.
This must have been before everything started taking off, because Boruto now. So how old is this video? Let me see. Oh yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah. This is in the past.
God, the current arc, man. Regardless, today we're going to be talking about a couple of Naruto theories that people had while the show was running that unfortunately panned out to be false. But before we get into reminiscing and destroying some of these previous theories, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. So the first theory that we're going to be talking about is actually from Boruto. And this is a theory that was disproven relatively recently, as in within the last year, at least for the anime of Boruto. In the manga, it's been a known fact that this person isn't the person who we thought it is for about 2 years. The person I'm talking about, obviously, is Kashin Koji. Kashin Koji is a member of Kara, a mysterious, tall, white-haired figure who mysteriously knows how to use the Rasengan and Sage Mode. Because of this, people thought, oh my god, Jiraiya is still alive. And who could fault them? It was a tall, white-haired man with a Rasengan in Toad Sage Mode. And while people were confused as to how Jiraiya could be alive again, he sunk to the bottom of an ocean with poles in his back, people theorized that Kashin Koji was actually just Jiraiya brought back with Edo Tensei, which makes a good amount of sense. I mean, his hand was blown off during the fight against Pain, and also his blood could still be found on Pain's chakra rods. So there was more than enough DNA to Edo Tensei him back. Actually, I made an entire video about how it was weird that he didn't get brought back and maybe why he didn't get brought back. And while this theory isn't 100% wrong like a couple of these other theories are going to be, it is a little bit wrong. See, Kashin Koji is not Jiraiya or Edo Tensei's Jiraiya. Kashin Koji is a clone of Jiraiya, created by the head scientist of Kara, Amado. Essentially, Amado really respected Jiraiya in the way that he led his life, so he thought the world would be less without a Jiraiya around, so he cloned Jiraiya to bring him back. You see, that theory actually had some legs. The next theory was always a bit odd to me. I remember the first time anybody ever saw Nagato, when the Rinnegan was introduced in Naruto. It was a weird, terrifying looking eye that had crazy abilities. But people made some assumptions, because Nagato was the only person we had ever seen have the Rinnegan, and Nagato was an Uzumaki. So people assumed that the Uzumaki actually awoke the Rinnegan in special circumstances. Essentially, people theorized that the Rinnegan was the Kekkei Genkai of the Uzumaki. And this theory always had holes.
I had never heard that one before. I'm not gonna lie to you. That would be tough. Imagine Naruto and one of the limbs was like, gets so hurt that he just opens the Rinnegan. That would have been crazy.
Wasn't it for me? Because imagine if there was an entire clan of people walking around with the Rinnegan. Not only would they have had the limitless chakra of the Uzumaki's adamantite chain sealing jutsus, now they would have the Rinnegan. And sure, you can say, well, 4 ninja villages teamed up to kill all of them to get rid of the Rinnegan and its terrifying power. Sure, maybe, but 4 ninja villages wouldn't be enough to kill an entire clan of
Rinnegan.
Pain basically walked through all of Konoha by themselves. And even if you say, well, only a few of them awaken it, a few of them would have been more than enough to stave off destruction. Well, I think it would have been cool and actually played into the Child of Prophecy timeline to say that the Uzumakis awoken the Rinnegan in specific circumstances. It would have introduced a lot of rather large plot holes for me. But all of that being said, I don't necessarily love the way that the Rinnegan awakens in people in Naruto. The fact that Madara had to combine with Hashirama's cells, and once they combine because they're the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura, who are the 2 sons of Hagoromo, you awaken a Rinnegan. And then Madara at the end of his life found the only person on Earth who could handle 2 of the Rinnegan and slapped them in there and then somehow wandered back to his cave with no goddamn eyes. It's weird. It's all weird. I'm not saying the Uzumaki situation is the perfect way to explain it, but I've always felt that there was a better way to explain the Rinnegan. But since we're talking about ocular dojutsu, guys, let's talk about the Uchiha. You see, long before we learned about Indra or Ashura, people theorized about why the Uchiha had so much power and why were they so cursed as a bloodline. See, at this point in time, we didn't know about the cycle of hate or Otsutsukis. We just knew that the Uchiha had been wiped out. So a long time ago, somebody theorized what is arguably one of my favorite defunct theories in all of Naruto. If you watch Naruto with a close eye, you see a lot of Shinto mythology lore being incorporated into Naruto. Kishimoto is a massive Shinto lore hound. Shinto, for those of you who don't know, is Japanese folklore. It's like Greek gods for Japan. But there's one specific type of imagery that Kishimoto relies on very heavily, and it's always connected to the Uchihas. There is a massive amount of connection between the Uchihas and Tengu. Now, before we get any deeper into this theory, let me explain to you what a Tengu is in Shinto mythology. A Tengu is described as a mischievous supernatural being, which is sometimes considered to be the reincarnated soul of somebody who is proud and arrogant in their life. Tengu are also renowned swordsmen, said to have trained the ancestors of Japan in swordplay, and they're said to live in trees in mountainous areas. Tengus also have wings and a long stretched nose. So wings, a long stretched nose, and a sword. Does that sound like anything to you? Well, it's actually exactly what the Susanoo was based off, which is ironic considering Susanoo is the name of another Shinto god, and the Susanoo looks like a different thing from Shinto mythology. The thing is, the Susanoo wasn't the only connection to this Tengu theory. Sasuke's wing transformation and the scar that would appear across his nose in curse mark form level 2, along with some of the decorations in his room, also gave credence to this theory, because both of these things were also modeled after Tengu-like appearance. So why is there so much Tengu imagery within the Uchiha clan? Well, this theory theorized that many generations ago, the head of the Uchiha made a deal with a Tengu for incredible power that came in the form of their ocular dojutsu, but it cursed their bloodline to extinction. And honestly, this theory makes a lot of sense because Tengu are mischievous in nature and also very talented and powerful, so they can hand down power to the Uchiha. This makes even more sense when you consider the fact that the use of Susanoo, which is the living embodiment of a Tengu, curses your eyes to blindness. Unless, of course, you take your brother's eyes, which feeds into the extinction of the clan. This was one of my favorite theories growing up. The idea that some Uchiha down the line had met a god and decided to extinct his clan for the power that it would give his clan was super interesting to me. But obviously now we know Indra and Ashura got in a fight and Indra was like, I hate you! And then he took the Sharingan and ran away, and then the clans were forced to fight forever and blah, 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 blah.
Why he have to make it sound like that? I'm sure he ain't say it like that though. I hate you.
So much less interesting. But since we're talking about extinct clans, guys, let's pop back to the Uzumaki for a second. You see, in the show, we know of 3 living Uzumaki: Karin, Nagato, and Naruto. But by the time that Boruto rolls around, there's only 2 living Uzumaki: Karin and Naruto. When people first found out that Karin was an Uzumaki, there was a lot of hype around.
Come on, bro. Yo, you do not have to use that photo, bro. No, so I mean, I understand Hinata, but come on, so you know your mission.
I mean, by this point, it had been well established that the Uzumaki were incredibly powerful and were wiped out by 4 of the 5 major villages. And they were wiped out because of their overwhelming strength. And the fact that she was female means that technically she could have kids with Naruto. So people far and wide theorized about the return of the Uzumaki clan starting with Naruto and Karin. I mean, you couldn't hope for a better start than that. You got the Hokage and a full-blooded Uzumaki. Things should be pretty pretty good, except people didn't realize that you can't start a clan with just 2 parents, because then what are those kids gonna do? They can't inbreed to make more Uzumakis. They would still
What about
have to marry
Orochimaru, though?
out, and then the Uzumaki blood would get diluted down and would eventually disappear, just like it had before.
But think about it though, they had to start that way to have a clan. I mean, 4 of them weren't just born randomly, right? So I mean, when you really think back, that's exactly how all the clans got started. So why not make it happen again? But I mean, Orochimaru is still there though. I mean, he can use science to do it.
Then again, I guess these rules kind of don't apply in Naruto because the Hyugas and the Uchihas have been doing it for, I don't know, 2,000 years, and they only got 5 fingers on each hand. But Alabama family trees aside, even the most desperate of people saw that there was no romantic tension between Naruto and Karin. I mean, they barely ever bump into each other. I guess
there was like a little bit. They could have flushed it out, like when she started to feel how warm his was. She was kind of talking about him in a kind of a nice way, like keep letting him walk through. She says like it feels so much better, like I've been so blinded by Sasuke. Maybe this could be the path. And then like it could have started. You could have started something from that moment. I'm just saying you could have started something from that moment.
Technically, it could have been written so that Karin falls in love with Naruto when she sees how different his chakra is from Sasuke's, and she becomes unenamored with Sasuke. But that would imply women being able to change in the Narutoverse, and we all know that can't happen. Some of the more rational people in this theory said, well, we know they're not going to fall in love, but maybe they'll put feelings aside and just have kids in order to bring back their clan, which would have also been absolutely bonkers. Yeah, Hinata will just be on board. She'll be like, you go off, Naruto. Go repopulate that clan that you never met. Like, I could technically see Karin's side of the argument there because maybe she spent some time with the Uzumaki, but she grew up in the land of grass, not the land of whirlpools. So more likely than not, she never really had an allegiance to the Uzumaki either. I don't know. This one just never made sense to me. Wouldn't you rather a Hyuga have Uzumaki chakra pools? Like, come on, guys, let's get the best of both worlds here. But speaking of getting the best of both worlds, this next theory had the best of both worlds. That being, it was fun and also possible. When Toby was first introduced, nobody knew who he was. He seemed to have an understanding of Konoha that only somebody from there would have. So there was a lot of theories about what Toby's identity was. There was 3 of merit. The first theory is that Toby was Sasuke from the future. Some people theorize that as Sasuke got older, he got evil.
Hell no. When Toby was first introduced, you thought they were thinking about future time travel? I can understand if we were thinking about that in Boruto's timeline. Like Obito came out in Boruto's timeline with a lot of futuristic tech. But Naruto Shippuden? First introduction? Hell no.
Eviler, meaning that in his timeline, Naruto never really got to him to save him. Ironically, when people were making this prediction, space-time ninjutsu was not created yet. Like, time travel is a thing in the Naruto verse, but it hadn't been created yet, so people were just assuming that time travel was gonna happen eventually. But essentially, people theorize that Sasuke from this timeline, where he travels back in time, loses his fight against Naruto, and then travels back in time to kill Naruto and close the loop and fulfill the ire of his hatred. Essentially, in his timeline, Sasuke loses, but wants to go back in time and is able to go back in time in order to make sure he does it. And once he's finally killed his only friend like he's been trying to do for so long, he can finally be the super evil version of himself he wants to be. I mean, basically everybody saw the whole Obito thing coming. It was about as sneaky as trying to get a 12 gauge through TSA. But there was some people out there playing with other ideas. Obviously, the whole future Sasuke loses to Naruto and travels back to beat Naruto once again isn't the worst idea of all time, especially considering the fact that Obito helped Sasuke a couple of times. But if Obito was actually from the future, there would have been some scenarios that he wouldn't have gotten into. Like, he wouldn't have sent Sasuke to go kill Killer B, knowing that Killer B was most likely going to absolutely style on him. There's also the fact that Obito helped in the Uchiha massacre, but the fans didn't know that yet. The next theory about Toby's identity was that it was Izuna, Madara's brother. Now, this theory was kind of fun and interesting because Toby sounds a lot like Tobirama. And Tobirama is the person who kills Izuna. So the possibility that Izuna was using Tobirama's name but shortened in order to hide his presence was kind of funny and also kind of gave some credence to the theory. I mean, think about what Toby is trying to accomplish. Infinite Tsukiyomi, enslaving the entire world to live in a heaven-like state. Something that any Senju member would fly against. So by taking Tobirama's name, the man who supposedly killed him, it's a form of revenge, for Izuna. On top of this, Izuna loved Madara. He loved Madara so much that he gave Madara his eyes at his death to make sure that Madara could live on with more power than he had. So people theorized that, like Madara, Izuna programmed himself somehow to come back to life after he dies, and is now trying to get revenge on account of Madara's death, and besmirch the name of the man who killed him. But both of these theories pale in comparison to the one that I prescribed to as a child. I mean, like, not as a child, I was like 14. My favorite theory about who Toby was the best one. Toby is Teiuchi. And for those of you who don't study Naruto as a job, Teiuchi is the ramen shop guy. People actually had some legitimate points for proving this theory correct. People stated that Teiuchi had always been interested in Naruto, making sure that he was always around Ichiraku Ramen, and being one of the only people in the village who was nice to Naruto. On top of this, there's the obvious fact that his eyes are always closed, which seems incredibly dangerous for somebody whose job is basically handling boiling water. Unless, of course, he has extrasensory perception, the kind of extrasensory perception that comes along with the Sharingan. Then there's also the fact in the Uchiha clan photo, there's a person who looks a lot like Teiuchi standing behind Fuka.
There's another person with his eyes closed,
you know, Minato, and then his two other teammates who are never named. These two teammates look like Makoto Uchiha, aka Sasuke's mother, and a little boy with his eyes closed, aka Teiuchi. So there's the possibility that Teiuchi was teamed with another Uchiha on a team with Minato and Jiraiya, and that connection to Minato would explain his interest in Naruto. It would even explain the kindness that he shows to Naruto. You see, in my heart of hearts, I always knew that this theory was simply not correct. But you cannot look me in the eyes and tell me if that mask had come off and it was Teiuchi, the ramen shop owner, you would not have screamed in excitement.
Why would he be so evil, though?
Obito, which everybody and their brother who's not even watching the show predicted. But since we're talking about high-up members of the Akatsuki, there was once a theory that stated Minato, yes, Minato, Naruto's father, was the leader of the Akatsuki. The first time we ever see Nagato in a panel, his face is blurred out. Well, it's not really blurred out. We simply get a silhouette. And the problem with this is that a silhouette of Nagato actually kind of looks like Minato. The high collar of the Akatsuki cloak mixed with the spiky hair kind of made it look like Minato was in charge of the Akatsuki. So people started to theorize that Minato hadn't actually died on the night of Naruto's birth. As to why he was collecting the tailed beast, something that would put his son directly in the line of danger when he tried to save his son and literally lost his life doing so, I wish I could tell you. But this wasn't the only case of mistaken identity amongst these theories. Now, this next theory is one that I believe absolutely should have been true. But the problem with making this theory true is that it would require rewriting large swaths of Naruto. You see, this theory stated that Orochimaru, yes, Orochimaru, the Snake Man, was the Jinchuriki of the Eight Tails. See, at this point, we hadn't met Killer Bee. We didn't even know what the Eight Tails looked like. I don't think anybody would have guessed it's an octopus bull. But the reason this theory made a lot of sense actually had nothing to do with Naruto itself. I stated earlier that Kishimoto absolutely adores using Shinto mythology to inspire Naruto. Susanoo, Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi, all Shinto gods. Orochimaru is also based off Shinto mythology. See, Orochimaru is meant to symbolize the eight-headed snake Orochi. Well, specifically Yamada no Orochi. This snake was of legendary size and power in the era of Shinto mythology, and it was slain by Susanoo, the god of thunder and storms, using the Sword of Totsuka. You see, Orochimaru versus Itachi's fight after Orochimaru climbs out of Sasuke is literally ripped directly from Shinto's. Itachi uses his Susanoo, which is equipped with a Sword of Totsuka, to slay Orochi no Yamada. If you think I'm lying, Orochimaru literally becomes an eight-headed snake as he emerges from Sasuke. But he is stabbed through the body with the Sword of Totsuka, and that seals his soul in the realm of drunken dreams. You made Orochimaru an eight-headed snake. He is based off an eight-headed snake. There is monsters in this world who are counted based off how many tails they have. A snake is entirely tail. You have effectively already made Orochimaru an eight-tailed beast. And the true wildest part is that this was the second time that Itachi and Orochimaru have fought. So wouldn't it kind of be an interesting plotline to have Orochimaru infiltrate the Akatsuki as a Jinchuriki? And as to how he got the eight tails, maybe Konoha kept it after Hashirama split them all up, or he stole it from somebody else in a search to extend his life. I mean, Orochimaru is trying to find any way to increase his power and his life expectancy. Having an access to a massive amount of chakra would be incredibly helpful in both of those things. And once again, it would be lore accurate to the thing that Naruto is based off. So what you can do is you can have Orochimaru try and take over Itachi's body, sure, that works. And then when Itachi flips the script on Orochimaru, he realizes that Orochimaru has the 8 tails inside of him. And then not only is the Akatsuki hunting down Orochimaru for being a traitor, they're hunting him down for being a Jinchuriki. Obviously, this would completely redirect the plot of Naruto, but I still think it would have been really cool. But obviously the fight between Itachi and Orochimaru was very cool as is. And that's it, guys, at least all the theories I can remember that never panned out. Did you guys have any theories?
I mean, there's a couple theories involving Jinchuriki that I think would have been dope, and most of them just, I guess, revolve around, I think, stuff that we've said before. I mean, one of the ones that I've heard is that, like, the Aburama clan should have had the 6 tails. It should have been passed through their lineage. Like, I that's one that I agree with. Like Shino walking around with the giant butterfly. What is it? Dragon. What's that book called? Not a water dragon. What is it called? Dragonfly beetle or something like that. That would have been pretty tough. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that made sense? Like Shikamaru possibly having the 5 tails as deer horse hybrid kind of thing. I don't know. There's a bunch of different things like involving the tail beast that I think that should have been true. I think in a universe where maybe Naruto does get with Karin and they try to do the whole Uzumaki thing, Sasuke gets with Hinata instead and Sakura finally gets over him and she just goes with Rock Lee or Neji. But Sasuke and Hinata get together and then they fuse the Hyuga Uchiha bloodline. That would have been wild to see from a kid standpoint. But let me know down below, what are some other theories maybe that you guys have, or things that you think that would look cool that obviously didn't happen? Everything would have been a cool way to kind of flesh out the story or just change the story minutely, or that you would change about the story. So with all that being said though, I'll catch you guys in the next video. It's me, Shot This Move, Black Hokage, Black Avatar, King Leo, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm sorry, I know I made you two a little mad back there, but you gotta think about your clan, gang. Let me go talk to him real quick off screen. He getting frustrated. Catch y'all later. Peace.